Susan Booker, Sr.
Kelly Ann Booms.
Campbell D. Boone.
Mary Jane Booth.
Sherry Ann Boudreau.
Christine Bordanabe.
Jerry J. Borg.
Martin Michael Borashevsky.
Richard Edward Bosco.
And my uncle Kenneth Joseph Marino, who was a firefighter with FDNY Rescue 1 in Manhattan. He was one of the first responders on that day. I'm 12 years old, so I never met my uncle Kenny, but I feel like I know him from my parents, grandparents, and family members. One thing I learned is that my uncle Kenny and I share a love of baseball. Our favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr., and I'm very happy and proud that we have the same interests. But most important is that my uncle Kenny was a true hero. He saved many lives on that day. Our family misses him every day, and we will never forget his memory or his bravery.
My cousin Matthew Carmen Solito. Matthew, neither you nor the thousands who perished on 9/11 will ever be forgotten. What is being forgotten is the 9/11 experience by every other American. I ask you today to speak to your children and your grandchildren who weren't born on 9/11. Tell them what you went through, tell them to never forget what your family went through on 9/11.
Klaus Botha.
Carol Marie Bouchard.
J. Howard Bolton.
Francisco Eligio Bourdier.
Thomas Harold Bowden, Jr.
Donna M. Bowen.
Kimberly S. Bowers.
Veronique Nicole Bowers.
Larry Bowman.
Sean Edward Bauman, Jr.
Kevin L. Bowser.
Gary R. Box.
Gennady Boyarsky.
Pamela Boyce.
Alan P. Boyle.
Michael Boyle.
Alfred J. Braca.
Sandra Konate Brace.
Kevin Hugh Bracken.
Sandy Waugh Bradshaw.
David Brian Brady.
Alexander Berginski.
Nicholas W. Brandmarty.
Daniel Raymond Brandhorst.
David Reed Gamboa Brandhorst.
Michelle Renee Bratton.
Patrice Brout.
Lydia Estelle Bravo.
Donald Michael Brightweiser.
Edward A. Brennan III.
Frank H. Brennan.
Michael E. Brennan.
Peter Brennan.
Thomas Moore Brennan.
Daniel J. Brethel.
Gary Lee Bright.
Jonathan Eric Briley.
Mark A. Brisman.
Paul Gary Bristow.
Marion R. Britton.
And my father, William Ralph Robb. Dad, we only got 6 years together, but I have nothing but the happiest memories. And every day I remember how lucky and how proud I am to be your daughter. Me, Mom, and Liam love and miss you so much.
And my mother, Imelda H. Perry. My mother was a beacon of kindness, wisdom, elegance, and grace. Her love was unconditional. Her spirit was indomitable. Along with my brother and my sister, we cherish the memories that you taught us. And even though you are not here with us, your memories will continue to live in our hearts and guide our actions. Thank you.
Mark Francis Broderick.
Herman Charles Brockhammer.
Keith A. Broomfield.
Bernard C. Brown II.
Janice J. Louis Brown.
Lloyd Stanford Brown.
Patrick John Brown.
Bettina B. Brown Radburn.
Mark Bruce.
Richard George Bruhert.
Andrew Brunn.
Vincent Edward Brunton.
Ronald Buca.
Brandon J. Buchanan.
Greg J. Buck.
Dennis Buckley.
John Edward Boluga Jr.
Patrick Joseph Boos.
Christopher L. Burford.
Stephen Bruce Bunin.
Thomas Daniel Burke.
Matthew J. Burke.
Charles F. Burlingame III.
William Francis Burke Jr.
Donald J. Burns.
Thomas E. Burnett Jr.
Keith James Burns.
Kathleen Ann Burns.
Irina Buslow.
John Patrick Burnside.
Thomas M. Butler.
Milton G. Bustillo.
Timothy G. Byrne.
Patrick Dennis Byrne.
Jesus Neptali Cabezas.
Daniel M. Caballero.
Brian Joseph Cachia.
Lillian Casieres.
And my brother, Robert Talhami. Your family and I love you and miss you so much. For the love you had for good food and wine, your good friend, Peter Donovan, and I have not missed a dinner in your honor for the last 23 years. Robert, my little brother, I know we will meet again. Until then, I love you and think of you every day.
And my uncle, James Brian Riley. We love you and miss you so much, Uncle Jimmy. Even though I've never met you, I've heard so many stories about you to the point where it feels like I've known you for my whole life. You're a role model to me, and your kindness inspires me and the rest of our family to be the best people that we can be.
Richard Michael Caggiano.
Cecile Morella Kaluka.
John Brett Cahill.
Michael John Cahill.
Scott Walter Cahill.
Thomas Joseph Cahill.
George C. Kane.
Salvatore B. Cabral.
Joseph M. Calandrello.
Philip V. Cagaliano.
Edward Calderon.
Jose O. Calderon Omeda.
Kenneth Marcus Caldwell.
Dominic E. Cali.
Felix Bobby Calixte.
Francis Joseph Callahan.
Liam Callahan.
Suzanne M. Cali.
Gino Luigi Calvi.
Rocco Kamaj.
Michael F. Camarata.
David O.T. Campbell.
Jeffrey Thomas Campbell.
Robert Arthur Campbell.
Sandra Patricio Campbell.
Sean Thomas Canavan.
John A. Candela.
Vincent A. Canalanzos.
Stephen J. Cangelosi.
Lisa Bella Canava.
Brian Canizaro.
Michael R. Canty.
Luis Anthony Caparisi.
Jonathan Neff Capello.
James Christopher Carpes.
Richard Michael Caproni.
Jose Manuel Cardona.
Dennis M. Carey Sr.
Edward Calino.
Michael Scott Carlo.
And my brother Emmanuel Akwesi Afuaka, you are a hero. May your soul and all departed souls keep resting in peace. And it's my prayer that this wicked act called terrorism will never occur again in the United States. God bless America.
And my father, Lieutenant Kenneth John Field, Sr. Dad, we miss you, including your wife, Patty, your children, Aaron, Danny, Kenny, and your grandchildren, Kendall, Kyle, and Callie Mae. I just want to be honored to be here and to wear your badge number as a police officer, and my brother as well, wearing your badge number as a fire department. God bless all the 9/11 families. Thank you.
David G. Carlone,
Rosemary C. Carlson,
Mark Stephen Carney,
Joyce Ann Carpenetto,
Jeremy Kaz Carrington,
Michael T. Carroll,
Peter J. Carroll,
James Joseph Carson Jr.,
Christopher Mikhail Karstinijan,
Angeline C. Carter,
James Marcel Cartier,
Sharon Ann Carver,
Vivian Casaldic,
John Francis Casaza,
Paul Reagan Cassio,
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey,
William Joseph Cashman,
Thomas Anthony Casoria,
William Otto Casper,
Alejandro Castaño,
Arcelio Castillo,
Leonard M. Castriano,
Jose Ramon Castro,
William E. Coswell,
Richard G. Catarelli,
Christopher Sean Caton,
Robert John Caulfield,
Mary Teresa Caulfield,
Judson Cavalier,
Michael Joseph Cawley,
Jason David Kane,
Juan Armando Ceballos,
Marcia G. Cecil Carter,
Jason Michael Cephalou,
Thomas Joseph Cecil,
Anna Mercedes Centeno,
Joni Sesta,
John J. Chada,
Jeffrey Mark Chernoff,
Swarna Chalasani,
and my cousin Gary M. Albero. Even though it's been 23 years, we hold your memory strong. Your love of family, meatballs, and of course the Yankees. We miss you every day and hope you're having a blast up there with Dad and Grandma and the rest of the family. And of course, God bless America.
and my sister Catherine McGarry Nowak. We miss you a lot.
William A. Chalkoff,
Eli Chalua,
Charles Lawrence Chan,
Mandy Chang,
Rosa Maria Chapa,
Mark Lawrence Charette,
David M. Charlebois,
Gregorio Manuel Chavez,
Pedro Francisco Checo,
Douglas Macmillan Cherry,
Stephen Patrick Cherry,
Vernon Paul Cherry,
Nestor Julio Chevalier,
Swede Joseph Chevalier,
Alexander H. Chiang,
Dorothy J. Chicharo,
Luis Alfonso Chimbo,
Robert Chin,
Eddie Wing Wei Ching,
Nicholas Paul Chofalo,
John G. Chipora,
Peter A. Chicharillo,
Catherine Ellis Cheers,
Kyung Hee Casey Cho,
Abul K. Chowdhury,
Mohammed Salahuddin Chowdhury,
Kirsten Lael Christoph,
Pamela Chu,
Stephen Paul Chuknik,
Wei Ching Chung,
Christopher Chiafardini,
Alex F. Ciccone,
Francis Ann Salente,
Elaine Silo,
Edna Cintrone,
Nestor Andre Cintron III,
Robert D. Siri Sr.,
Juan Pablo Cisneros,
Benjamin Keefe Clark,
Eugene Clark,
and my father, FDNY Battalion Chief Oreo Joseph Palmer. A month from today, I'm getting married, and I'll be saving a seat for you and for Mom. Dana, Keith, and I are so proud to be your children.
and my uncle, Salvatore F. Pepe. Sal, the entire family misses you. I hope you see how well your son, little Sal, has turned out. Kathy has done an amazing job. We miss you. We'd love to have you around. We know and that you're looking out for us, so thank you for being our guardian angel.
Gregory Allen Clark,
Maddie Leroy Clark,
Sarah M. Clark,
Thomas R. Clark,
Christopher Robert Clark,
Donna Marie Clark,
Michael J. Clark,
Saria Rachel Emma Clark,
Kevin Francis Cleary,
James D. Clear,
Jeffrey W. Cloud,
Susan Marie Klein,
Stephen Coakley,
Jeffrey Allen Cole,
Patricia A. Cody,
Daniel Michael Coffey,
Jason Matthew Coffey,
Florence G. Cohen,
Kevin S. Cohen,
Anthony Joseph Coladonato,
Mark Joseph Caleo,
Stephen J. Caleo,
Christopher Michael Colasanti,
Kevin Nathaniel Colbert,
Michelle P. Colbert,
Keith E. Coleman,
Scott Thomas Coleman,
Terrell Coleman,
Liam Joseph Cahoon,
Robert D. Colon,
Robert J. Call,
Jean Marie Collin,
John Michael Collins,
Michael L. Collins,
Thomas Joseph Collins,
Joseph Kent Collison,
Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman,
Patricia Malaya Kolodner,
Linda M. Cologne,
Saul E. Cologne,
and my friend Susan Ruggiero, and also my brother, firefighter, Michael Francis Lynch. I look forward to that day when we can all be together again. And may I ask everybody out there watching this to pray for unity and to pray for peace. Thank you.
my brother Robert T. Bobby Hughes Jr. and our family friend Judy Hazel Fernandez. Bobby, your beautiful and infectious smile and soul is missed and loved so much every day. You have no idea the major impact you and your life has had and left on all of our hearts. We can't believe you're gone 23 years. The sadness and emptiness we all feel missing you is indescribable. Thank you for watching over all of us after all these years. You're loved and missed so much, and you are forever our hero and angel. We love you so much, Bobby.
Ronald Edward Comer,
Jaime Concepcion,
Albert Conde,
Denise Conley,
Susan P. Conlin,
Margaret Mary Connor,
Cynthia Marie Lease Connolly,
John E. Connolly Jr.,
James Lee Connor,
Jonathan M. Connors,
Kevin Patrick Connors,
Kevin F. Conroy,
Brenda E. Conway,
Dennis Michael Cook,
Helen D. Cook,
Jeffrey W. Coombs,
John A. Cooper,
Julian T. Cooper,
Joseph John Capo Jr.,
Gerard Coppola,
Joseph Albert Corbett,
John J. Corcoran III,
Alejandro Cordero,
Robert Joseph Cordes,
Ruben D. Correa,
Danny A. Correa Gutierrez,
Georgine Rose Corrigan,
James J. Corrigan,
Carlos Cortez Rodriguez,
Kevin Michael Cosgrove,
Dolores Marie Costa,
Digna Alexandra Costanza,
Charles Gregory Costello Jr.,
Michael S. Costello,
Asia S. Cottom,
Conroy Kofi Katoy Sr.,
Modern John Coughlin,
John J. G. Coughlin,
Timothy J. Coughlin,
James E. Cove,
and my uncle, Ol D. Wangachuk, who I've missed by 10 days, and who was taken from all of us. We all miss you. We all love you. Thank you. And God bless America.
and my aunt, Danielle Casoulas. Although never fortunate enough to have met you, your memory still continues to live on from the stories of your selfless heart, your smile, and your tenacity for everything you set your mind to. The stories of your life inspire me every day. You inspired me to run my first marathon and to never give up on my dreams on attending the United States Coast Guard Academy to one day serve my country. You are my why. You are loved and you are missed, and you will never be forgotten.
Andre Colin Cox,
Frederick John Cox,
James Raymond Coyle,
Michelle Coyen Ewan,
Christopher Seaton Kramer,
Eric A. Cranford,
Denise Elizabeth Krant,
James Leslie Crawford Jr.,
Robert James Crawford,
Tara Kathleen Kramer,
Joanne Mary Cregan,
Lucia Crisfasa,
John A. Creasy,
Daniel Hall Chrisma,
Dennis A. Cross,
Kevin R. Crotty,
Thomas G. Crotty,
John R. Cray,
Wellis Remy Crother,
Robert L. Cruikshank,
John Robert Cruz,
Grace Agrell Kula,
Kenneth John Cubas,
Francisco Cruz Cabero,
Thelma Cuccinello,
Richard Joseph Cudino,
Neil James Cudmore,
Thomas Patrick Collins III,
Joan Cullinan,
Joyce Rose Cummings,
Brian Thomas Cummins,
Michael Joseph Cunningham,
Robert Curatolo,
Lawrence Demain Culo,
Paul Dario Curioli,
Patrick Joseph Curvin,
Beverly L. Curry,
Andrew Peter Charles Curry Green,
Michael Sean Curtin,
Patricia Cusher,
and my uncle, firefighter Edward James White III. Even though I never got to meet you, Uncle Teddy, from all the great stories I hear, I feel like I know you. We all love and miss you. You will forever be our hero.
and my grandfather, Michael D. Dio. Everyone who knew him lost a real friend, and for all of us in our family, he has left a place that can never be filled. We love you, Papa.
Gavin Cushney,
Caleb Aaron Dack,
Carlos S. DaCosta,
Jason M. Dahl,
Brian Paul Dale,
NYPD Police Officer John DeLara,
Vincent Gerard Demadeo,
Thomas A. Damaskinos,
Jack L. D'Ambrosi Jr.,
Janine Damiani Jones,
Manuel Joao Demota,
Patrick W. Danahy,
Mary D'Antonio,
Petty Officer 2nd Class Vincent G. Dans,
Dwight Donald Darcy,
Elizabeth Ann Darling,
Annette Andrea Dotteram,
Lieutenant Edward A. Diatri,
Firefighter Michael D. Dioria,
Lawrence Davidson,
Michael Allen Davidson,
Firefighter Scott Matthew Davidson,
Titus Davidson,
Nierka Davila,
Ada M. Davis,
Port Authority Police Officer Clinton Davis Sr.,
Wayne Terriel Davis,
Anthony Richard Dawson,
Calvin Dawson,
Firefighter Edward James Day,
William Thomas Dean,
Firefighter Robert J. DeAngelis Jr.,
Battalion Chief Thomas Patrick DeAngelis,
Dorothy Alma de Araujo,
Ana Gloria Pocasangre de Barrera,
Tara E. DeBeck,
James D. Debonier,
Anna M. Dibin,
James V. de Blasi Jr.,
Jasiril Malabuyak de Chavez, Uncle Firefighter Joseph Patrick Henry. Uncle Joey, although we never met you, you will always be remembered. We see your sense of humor and big heart in all our family members.
You should be here laughing with us at our family gatherings in Breezy Point or winning big at Left Right Center on Christmas Day, but we know you are watching over us with Papa and Aunt Mary.
We promise to continue telling your stories and will never let anyone forget all those lost on September 11th.
Paul DeCola,
Gerald F. DeCanto,
Simon Morash Dedvukash,
Jason Christopher DeFazio,
David A. DeFeo,
Jennifer De Jesus,
Monique Effie De Jesus,
Nareda De Jesus,
Emmy De La Pena,
Donald Arthur De La Pena,
Azucena Maria De La Torre,
Vito Joseph Delio,
Danielle Ann Deli,
Andrea Della Bella,
Joseph A. De La Pietra,
Palmina Della Gotti,
Colleen Ann DeLowery,
Joseph DeLuca,
Manuel Del Valle Jr.,
Francis Albert De Martini,
Anthony DeMoss,
Martin N. DeMeo,
Francis Deming,
Carol Keys Demetz,
Kevin Dennis,
Thomas Francis Dennis Sr.,
Jean C. De Palma,
Jose Nicholas De Pena,
Robert John Duraney,
Michael DeRienzo,
David Paul DeRubio,
Jamal Laguesse DeSantis,
Christian Louis DeSimone,
Edward D. Simone III,
Andrew J. Desperito,
Michael Jude D'Esposito,
Cindy Ann Duell,
Melanie Louise DeVere,
Jerry DeVito,
Robert P. Devitt Jr.,
and my uncle, Matthew J. Burke. It is with great pride that I carry on your name. You are loved and missed dearly. Even though you're not here with us, you are forever in our hearts. God bless my Uncle Matt, and God bless America.
and my uncle, Thomas Joseph Collins. Uncle Tommy, you were the life of the party and had an infectious smile that could light up any room. We know you're up there with Grandma and Grandpa watching over all of us. We love you, we miss you, and you were never forgotten.
Dennis Lawrence Devlin,
Gerard P. Dewan,
Suleimani Kasamali Danani,
Michael Louis D'Agostino,
Matthew Diaz,
Nancy Diaz,
Obdulio Ruiz Diaz,
Michael A. Diaz Piedra III,
Judith Berquist Diaz Sierra,
Patricia Florence D. Chiaro,
Rodney Dickens,
Jerry D. Dickerson,
Joseph Dermot Dickey Jr.,
Lawrence Patrick Dickinson,
Michael D. Deal,
John DeFato,
Vincent Francis DeFazio,
Carl Anthony DeFranco,
Donald Joseph DeFranco,
John D. Giovanni,
Eddie A. Dillard,
Deborah Ann DiMartino,
David DeMiglio,
Stephen Patrick Domino,
William John Dimling,
Marissa DiNardo Shorp,
Christopher Moore Dinka,
Jeffrey Mark Dingle,
Rena Sam Danu,
Anthony Dionisio,
George DiPasquale,
Joseph DiPilato,
Douglas Franks DiStefano,
Donald Americo DiTullio,
Ramsey A. Dewani,
Johnny Doctor Jr.,
John Joseph Doherty,
Melissa Candida Doy,
Brendan Dolan,
Robert E. Dolan Jr.,
and my uncle Jesera Malabuyok de Chavez. Tito, you're the man who I am honored to get my name from. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well and watching down on us. Although I've never got the chance to meet you in person, it's clear you've made a significant impact on those around you. Nanay, Ninang, Lolo, and Lola all speak very highly of you and your accomplishments. The amount of respect they all have for you is evident. It's unfortunate you're not able to tell me these stories and accomplishments yourself. However, your siblings and parents will always make sure to share your stories for you. Through us, your family, will make sure you are never forgotten and your legacy will live on. Tito, wherever you are, I hope you finally found peace. Mahal na mahal kita.
determination. The day. A Tuesday 23 years ago, the Pentagon awoke to a day like any other. But at 9:37 a.m., the routine of the morning was shattered by the explosion of fire and steel. As hijacked American Airlines Flight 77 was flown into the west wall of the Pentagon. Those there on the day spoke of the acrid smell of fire, the gray smoke that permeated its way through the corridors and across the building. But many noted an absence of panic, despite the horror, shock, and confusion. Through the chaos and terror arose a focused calm among the people there, trained military and civilian professionals, dedicated to helping the wounded, dedicated to maintaining the mission, as families waited for a call to hear that their loved one was okay. Some of those families never received the call. Flight 77 had departed that morning at 8:20, bound for Los Angeles. 5 children were on board. 3 of them, Rodney Dickens, Asian Compton, and Bernard Brown. They were on their way to explore California's Channel Islands with National Geographic. A special trip recognizing their standout performance as students and celebrating their flight futures that laid ahead. 2 sisters, Zoe and Dana Falkenberg, were flying with their parents, excited to start a new life adventure in Australia. But at 9:37, those children, along with 54 other passengers and crew, had their life's journey end just a few hundred yards where we now stand. And with them, 125 sailors, soldiers, and civil servants, people who had committed years of their lives in service of our country, people who had gone to work that day not knowing their service would end in the ultimate sacrifice. Yet amid the destruction, something profound emerged, a demonstration of determination. It was the courage of those who ran toward the danger, who chose not to flee, but to help, to save, that provided a light in a time of darkness. In the 9/11 Commission's report, in the section covering the Pentagon's response, it is aptly titled, Heroism and Horror. It discusses the mix of local, state, and federal entities that work together to contain the fire, tend to the wounded, and keep the mission going. What it does not discuss were the countless acts of bravery that went unseen and unrecorded, the calm determination of those who remained at their posts. There was fear, yes, but that fear was tempered by an unyielding resolve to protect, to defend, and to serve. Amidst the sadness and the rage, the people who remained that day chose to honor those who had fallen by coming together to protect and to serve. There are many accounts of people running back into the burning rubble, pulling people to safety, only to go back in and save more. Leaders who guided their teammates to safety, navigating the hot ash and smoke. Others had to be restrained by security to stop them from going back in once again, because their blind instinct was to run into the flames with no regard for their own safety, to support those that were still in danger. And while destruction and rescues continued on the west side, the rest of the building continued to persevere, relocating watch stations, establishing communications, and preparing for potential follow-on attacks. Even as this side of the Pentagon collapsed into rubble, this building kept the mission going because of the grit and determination of the people there that day. So today, we gather to support each other, to do what we can to comfort one another, to honor the sacrifice made by too many, and to fulfill our sacred duty to remember. We remember the day. We will remember the determination. But most importantly, we will remember the loss. The loss here at the Pentagon, the loss at the World Trade Center, and the loss in the fields of Pennsylvania. The sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters who are lost in that day, but will never be forgotten. God bless our fallen. God bless all of you. And may God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd J. Austin III.
General Brown, thank you for those moving words. Family members of the fallen, survivors and first responders, our outstanding troops, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. I'm honored to join you once more on this day of memory and resolve. And on behalf of the entire Department of Defense, let me offer my deepest condolences to the families, the friends, and the loved ones of the 184 souls who were stolen from us 23 years ago today, here at the Pentagon and on Flight 77. We have repaired the damage to this building, but we cannot repair the damage to your hearts. No words can take away your grief. No amount of time can make sense of the worst terrorist attack in American history. And I know that for those whose lives were changed forever on 9/11, it can feel as if more and more Americans are returning to normal life on each new September 11th. But not here, not at the Pentagon, because we remember. The men and women of the Department of Defense remember. And we always will. Every September, we gather here near 184 memorial benches. But the troops and the personnel of this department don't need to come to this space to remember 9/11. You see, we don't just work near a memorial, we work in a memorial. Every day we serve in the only surviving building struck by Al-Qaeda on 9/11. And every day we carry a powerful sense of purpose. And that's why there's a piece of the wreckage from 9/11 on display outside my inner office for every visitor and every teammate to see. It is a constant reminder that 9/11 isn't a part of our distant history. It is entwined in the department's mission. And it's captured in the stories of those who were here. We continue to honor the beloved teammates who we lost, the first responders who raced towards the flames, the families who humble us with their resilience, and the survivors who continue to inspire us all. I'm thinking today of two sisters, Patty Mickley and Kathy Dillber. In the fall of 2001, Patty worked in the Defense Intelligence Agency, and Kathy worked for the Department of the Army. And on 9/11, they began their day as they so often did, with a morning talk in the Pentagon courtyard. And Patty's daughter had graduated from the Pentagon Daycare Center a week earlier. And she had just had her first day of kindergarten. And so Patty told her younger sister all about it. And then they went their separate ways. That was their last conversation. Kathy was devastated by Patty's murder. But she channeled her anguish into service by working with the Pentagon Memorial Fund. And Kathy says, that was a tie that kept me here. And we are grateful that Kathy is here with us today. After 9/11, the staff, the family members, and the children of the Pentagon Daycare Center donated a small plaque in the Pentagon courtyard. It honors Patty and Shelley Marshall, another DIA teammate slain on 9/11. And her young children were at the daycare center that morning. Now, Shelley Marshall's daughter, Chandler, is now a lawyer who has helped to care for Afghan refugees. And her son, Drake, is now training at Fort Liberty to become a Special Forces soldier. They're both here today with their father, Don, who raised them with such love. And the plaque in the Pentagon courtyard for Patty Mickley and Shelley Marshall reads, "They are not gone who live in the hearts of others. They are not gone who live in the hearts of others." After 9/11, fear turned to resolve, and resolve turned to action and to service. And for proof of that, we can look to the life of Kevin Schaefer. On the morning of 9/11, Kevin was a lieutenant on duty in the Pentagon's Navy Command Center. As he watched the news from New York, he was knocked to the ground by the force of a fireball. Nearly half of Kevin's body was terribly burned. But somehow, he crawled through the rubble toward rescue. And for 3 months, Kevin fought hard in the burn unit just to survive. And he still carries the scars of 9/11. You know, Al-Qaeda's attack on the Pentagon ended Kevin's service to the Navy, but not to our country. Kevin thought hard about what to do next. And he raised his hand to serve once more, this time as a civilian. In 2003, he was selected as one of the professional staff members on the 9/11 Commission. And at his unremarkable government desk, in his unremarkable government cubicle, Kevin chose to put up the pictures of the 9/11 hijackers. And on the commission, he worked to shed truth and clarity on the evil that those 19 terrorists chose to commit. In the wake of 9/11, Americans like Kevin and Kathy turned grief into grace and agony into resolve. And stories like theirs remind us of what we've lost, but they also remind us of who we are. We are the United States of America. We do not bend to terror. And in uncertain times, our compass remains our Constitution. This department does not just defend our country and our citizens, it also defends America's founding values of democracy, freedom, and liberty under law. And those beliefs have inspired generations of patriots to step forward and to wear the cloth of our nation. And they still do. You know, only about 6% of today's troops were in uniform on 9/11. And some of our troops, about 21% of our troops, were born after 9/11. And some of our troops enlisted or were commissioned after 9/11 as our country came together in sorrow and determination. And others joined years later, spurred on by an enduring spirit of service. And we are profoundly grateful to them all. We thank the military families who make their service possible. And today, of all days, I want to especially thank my fellow veterans of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. In the memory of every American soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, and public servant who lost their lives in the wars that America fought after 9/11, we bow our heads. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States military remains the greatest fighting force on earth. And not just because of our might, but because of our people. And we will always strive to carry forward the values of the teammates who we lost here 23 years ago. Their memory is our mission, and their families are our families too. You have endured endless sorrow and unimaginable pain with unimaginable strength. We stand with you today and every day. And we rededicate ourselves to living up to the example and the goodness of your loved ones. With a spirit of shared duty, with deep love for our country, and with an unbreakable devotion to our democracy. They are not gone who live in the hearts of others. May the memory of the fallen be a blessing. May God provide comfort to all who mourn. May God protect our troops, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of God Bless America and remain standing for the benediction.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea,
solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above.
From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we pray that as we leave this place, we never leave your presence. May your Spirit continue to bring healing to our families, comfort to those who suffer, hope to our nation, and peace to our world. Humbly we ask that as you continue to grant us opportunities to cherish the freedoms and blessings and liberties that we enjoy every day in the United States of America. In your precious and holy name I pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for joining us this morning. The Pentagon Memorial Chapel, and the Navy Reflection Room are open until 12 p.m.